Hey everyone, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. Today, it is the most decadent and indulgent caramel cake you could ever imagine. Homemade caramel with the perfect hit of salt infused into a Swiss meringue buttercream, and it's all wrapped around these moist, fluffy vanilla cake layers that you're just gonna love. Let's get started. First off, we're gonna make the caramel. Homemade caramel is one of my favorite things to eat. It is delicious. 1.5 cups of granulated sugar into a small pot. There's that 1/2 cup. I'm adding in 1/4 cup of water. When you make caramel, you can stir it a little bit at the very beginning, but afterwards it has to just hang out and do its own thing. That's how it avoids those crystals that will make it look kind of crunchy afterwards. Stir, 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 just a little bit so the sugar is dissolved, and then we're gonna put the heat on. Now I have a very thick sugar paste. I'm gonna put this over, oh. It's my first time using everything here. There we go. Put it over like a medium heat. As the sugar warms up, you can brush the sides with a wet pastry brush, and that'll help you avoid any burnt sugar on the edge. And not too wet, mind you, just damp. This is medium-low, but like the heat's really intense. I'm also just learning how to cook with propane. It's different from natural gas, I tell ya. We want this to get to a nice golden amber color. In the meantime, we can be prepared by pouring a cup of cream and getting 5 tablespoons of butter ready. So I'm so tempted to like stir, 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 because it looks like it's different consistencies, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let it be, let it just kind of bubble away, and as it darkens, I'm gonna keep an eagle eye on it, because just like making a custard when you're boiling sugar, it's like nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, it's burnt. So keep an eagle eye on it once it gets to just like a little bit of a light amber color. That edge is getting light amber in color, so I know it's time. Okay, so right now this is a beautiful amber color, and the edge is darker in the middle, but that's okay. It's ready. So I'm turning it off. Oof. Gonna carefully whisk in a full cup of cream. Whoa. After you've vigorously whisked in your cream off heat, we're gonna add in the 5 tablespoons of butter, as well as a healthy 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's up to you. If you like a salty caramel, add in the full teaspoon. And now we're going to stir it in over a medium-high heat. Still getting used to this little stove. And we're gonna cook it for like 2 to 3 minutes. It's gonna thicken things up and become really lovely. So it starts bubbling pretty quickly, and you know, just keep whisking. Whisk, 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 whisk. Serious, vigorous bubble. I have like a minute left. Okay, that's good. Officially off the heat. Once your caramel's cooked, we can pour it into a bowl just to cool down. We're making this first so that we can have a nice room temperature caramel to add into our buttercream, which we'll make last. I'm preparing my pans by buttering the bottom just a little bit, a lot of it on the side, and then adding a parchment round, just like that. Kick around a tablespoon of flour and then transfer to the next pan. Set your pans aside, and now let's make the batter. First off, we're gonna sift our dry ingredients into a medium bowl and then whisk them up, starting with 330 grams of flour, that's 2 3/4 cups, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. Sift it out, whisk it up, and set it aside. First off, I'm adding 1.5 cups of milk to a container. Now I'm gonna sour the milk with 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar. You could also use lemon juice if you want. You really just wanna have an acid to curdle the milk. This will react with the leavening agents and give you an even fluffier cake. It's kind of amazing, and you're not gonna taste the vinegar. Give it a quick stir, and I actually wanna microwave mine for like 30 seconds just to warm it up, and it'll help kind of like congeal things in a good way. Okay, now for the butter-sugar combination. Into my stand mixer, fitted with a paddle attachment, I'm adding 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter at room temperature. Add that paddle on. Let's cream it up just a little bit and then add the sugar. 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. That is 300 grams. I'm scraping that bowl down. With any cake, you want to have a nice homogeneous batter, not little, hidden pockets of ingredients anywhere. So, scrape, 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 mix, mix, mix. While it's mixing up, I'm going to crack some eggs. Tip the eggs in one at a time and let them mix in before adding the next. And you might need to scrape that bowl down. All right, last egg. We're gonna add the flour and milk mixtures in alternating batches, probably 3 batches for the dry and 2 for the wet, starting and ending with the dry. You know the drill. All right, so let's add in a little less than a cup. Mix on low, and add in some of the wet. Repeat the process. You be careful when you do that. Yeah, now that we're in the new kitchen, I'm really trying to keep things a bit cleaner. I'm trying my extra hardest. Mix that up. Batter looks good, but I'm just gonna mix it by hand to finish it off, scrape it down, and make sure there's nothing floating around in there that I don't want. I forgot the vanilla, that's very important. 1.5 tablespoons of a nice vanilla. And here's a little secret. You can forget to do things when you make a cake, and it is normally fine, especially on a cake like this, where you're not folding in egg whites. Egg white cakes, really a little bit more finicky. This one, it's not a big deal. So the vanilla should have gone in either with the milk or to the butter sugar mixture, but it's going in at the end and it's fine. Really getting that bottom all scraped down. And now I have my batter. Add the batter into your prepared pans and try and get it basically the same. Also, try and get the batter in the pan. That's helpful too. I'm adding some careworn cake strips onto my pans now. They're so ratty, but I just don't want to stop using them and get new ones until they don't work anymore. You can watch my how to get perfect flat cake layers video to see how to make your own, as well as how these work. They are lifesavers and game changers for flat cakes. These are gonna go into the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes or until the centers are nice and springy. If you have a hot stove, be careful. For the frosting, I'm separating out 5 egg whites. Those yolks will be amazing to make a flan or some pastry cream, whatever you desire. Okay, I like to use my clean hands to do this, but any method you like that works is fine. But I'm definitely living on the edge because I should be separating these out into separate bowls in case one of the yolks breaks. And use room temperature eggs if you can, it's just better. Now we're gonna add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, and we're just gonna whisk it up really quick to get it started, and then transfer it onto a pot of simmering water. All right, that's good. You're not mixing it up till it's dissolved. You're just getting it started before it goes onto that double boiler. Place your sugar egg white mixture onto that pot of simmering water, and of course the water is not touching the bowl. It's a gentle steam heat. Just whisk it up occasionally at the beginning, and once it gets warm, you're gonna whisk, whisk, whisk. But for now, you can just whisk every once in a while and come back to it. It just has to heat up a bit first. I'm using a candy thermometer to see when this gets to 160 Fahrenheit, but if you don't have one, you don't really need one. What you can do is use your clean finger, dip it in. How does it feel? This feels very tepid. You want it to feel hot, and shouldn't be any sugar granules. This feels grainy right now, so that's not good. You want it to be super smooth and hot to the touch, basically. Okay, so my meringue just reached 160, and now we're gonna dump it into the clean bowl of our stand mixer. In you go. Careful, because it is hot. Add your whisk attachment, and it's gonna mix and mix and mix. You can pack the bowl with ice to get it to cool down slower, but it's gonna form a beautiful, amazing meringue. But before you add that butter, it has to be room temperature. So already, I want you to see, it's getting nice and meringue-like. Happens quickly, but it has to just keep whipping, whipping, whipping. And this is full of steam, so it's gonna cool down considerably. Let it run. Just checking on my meringue. Much more marshmallowy, but a tish bit warm. So good though. I am gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt right now. You could have done that at the beginning. You could have skipped it all together. It's up to you. Butter is room temperature enough. It can be, I will say, a little bit warm, like a tiny bit, if your butter is on the cooler side, and it's about as cool as I would want to have it. Switch to a paddle attachment, and now this butter is gonna go in about a tablespoon at a time. In you go. As you add the butter, the meringue will become soupy and disappointing, but once you add in that final piece and keep whipping, it'll all come together. So don't go crazy and be impatient and think, oh my gosh, I gotta keep whipping it, but not add more butter in. All right, this is gonna whip up a bit more, and you can see right now, oh, it's so soupy, what happened? I added all the butter in, I'm sad. Don't be sad, just keep whipping, it'll be fine. If things are a little bit out of control and just not working, pop it into the fridge for 5 minutes and it'll be totally fine after you whip it again. That's how you want your buttercream to look, really fluffy and cloudy and delicious. We're gonna split this into 2 batches. One gets some caramel, the other one gets some more caramel. It's gonna be amazing. This is kind of up to you, like how much do you wanna add? I suggest you start off with 1/3 cup into the whole batch. Then we're gonna reserve some and set it aside and add even more caramel to that because we're making a 2-tone color scheme. Now, 1/3 cup in. It is so gratifying seeing homemade caramel, and it's a million times better than the store-bought stuff. Just trust me on this one. Okay, mix it in. That looks great to me. This gets set aside. I'm gonna reserve for my stripes like a cup. I probably don't need that much, but I'm reserving it nonetheless. All right, for my darker batch, I'm just gonna keep adding caramel until it gets to a color that I like. Don't add too much though, because then it's just gonna be caramel. It's gonna ooze all out. So maybe add a few tablespoons at a time until you're happy. Not as a person, but with the color of the caramel. There we go. That has a nice contrast. I might add a little bit more caramel, but the nice thing is it's gonna taste amazing. So if you don't wanna do this decoration scheme, you want it to be like an easy, delicious cake, just mix in a ton of caramel to this frosting and you will be just in heaven. I'm in heaven making it because I'm gonna be licking this bowl clean off camera. Trust and believe. All right, it's time to assemble the cake. And by the by, first layer, look how pretty that is. So flat, perfectly baked, ready to accept some caramel into its life and move off into the future. All right, I'm gonna transfer this to a piping bag and get to work. All right, so we're starting off with a nice swirl of caramel. Whoa, so relaxing and amazing. Now we're gonna top that with a little bit more of the caramel frosting. Layer number 2 on top. Look at this nice layer. This is my first major cake in the new kitchen and I'm pretty excited. Pop that on top. You can do a crumb coat, and I probably would do a crumb coat for this cake because we don't want anything moving around in part 2. A crumb coat is just where you take a little bit of frosting and smooth it out on top, and this will give you a coating which will prevent crumbs from forming on your final cake layer. And the other thing that I really love about a crumb coat is it stabilizes the cake. So you cover it up, and I'm using a bench scraper for this cake right now. Oh my God, this is like so much easier to do than if I was doing it for Instagram. This is my Instagram video position, in case you're wondering. Like, so if you ever follow at Preppy Kitchen, I'm always like doing some like crazy off-camera situation to get the angle right and not block it for you. This is a crumb coat. What we can do is pop this into the fridge or freezer for just a few minutes and the outside will harden up. And I think I'm actually going to do that. All right, my cake chilled out in the fridge for like 10 or 15 minutes and it's not totally hard yet, but it's harder and it's not gonna wobble if I push on it, which is important. I'm gonna add frosting here last. So one thing I will warn you is that you can't let this frosting just hang out forever. If you do that, it won't have this nice smooth consistency when you're moving it around. Usually I use an offset spatula for the top, but today I'm just gonna use a bench scraper. So now for the top, what we wanna do is pull in as we turn and clean off in between. And this is all getting covered with caramel, so I don't really care that much about the top. If you're using one of these toothed combs, this is the tricky part. So use the toothed comb and start dragging off some of this frosting. Don't worry about it looking perfect. It's gonna look kind of crazy. What you do want is to have little grooves cut out by the tool. I'm pretty happy with this. What we're gonna do is pop it into the fridge. It needs to be rock hard, and then we're gonna come back to it. So, into the fridge you go to chill. You need a timeout. Okay, once your cake is chilled, see, nice and hard, we're going to just pipe on a thin layer of that darker buttercream. Don't be discouraged, by the way. If it doesn't look perfect, it doesn't have to look perfect. Make it look nice. It's gonna be delicious as well, by the way. Okay, so I'm gonna use a flat tool to kind of spread the love a bit. I know the bottom's not done yet. Now I'm not piping it anymore. I'm just pressing it in with my offset spatula. Continue smoothing, so just scrape gently. You don't want to remove too much of the buttercream because then you can erase the pattern. And there might be some spots that are a little funky, but don't worry about that because we'll be doing a caramel drip. Some funky stuff on top here. I'm just going to reel that in. And there's a lot of stuff on the bottom. When you're scraping this, the scraper's not going to be like perpendicular to the edge of the cake. It's going to be really hugging it, so you're pushing that frosting in as well. You're not pulling it out. I'm not going to do any more smoothing now. Here I have my caramel. It is perfectly room temperature, so it's going to be nice and flowy. Right now, I'll add on a thin layer on top. So I'm using a small offset spatula. Now we can add a drip on, but be very conservative with your drips because the caramel will continue to flow down. So here, all of this is actually good enough. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. This is gonna go into the fridge to hang out. It'll also slow the caramel from dripping. And when we come back, it's the final touch. I'm finishing the cake off with a crown of flaked sea salt. I just love the way it contrasts with the caramel and it actually gives you a really nice bite. If you like this recipe, check out my cake playlist, all my favorites and a guaranteed favorite for you too. Let's see what this tastes like. Oh my gosh. That is like the caramel with that buttercream. It's pure magic. It's pure magic. The cake is, yes, amazing too, but like the star is definitely the caramel and it kind of just like slaps you in the face and says, eat more of me, I'm delicious. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.